Hey, welcome back to Too Hard, Too Fast, the podcast with strong opinions about things that we may or may not know too much about in order to broaden perspectives. In this episode, Tuesday and Thursday, we have a very special guest, a talented guest, Monica Saldivar. Sorry.
Yep,
I
there
try
it
to say
is.
it in English and Spanish, but depending on which part of the country you're in, it's either Monica Saldivar or Monica Saldivar.
Yes, thank
Um,
you for
that's how
getting it
my name
right.
changes. It's either Jorge or George,
There you
depending
go.
who's looking for me.
Right. And I'm sure it's
Uh,
the same thing with Roberto or Robert.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Right.
And we're out and about. My mom calls me Robert. When we're at home, well, she calls me by my middle name because I'm probably gonna get in trouble.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Monica is a Tejano music artist, but she's also the Tejano new how was the word? 2020
So
Tejano's
the
female
award
artist of
is,
the year.
Best new female artist.
Okay,
There you
maybe
go.
I shouldn't even try to say it.
No,
Let
Too
her
hard,
do
too
it,
fast,
bro.
and I've
She
already
wanna
messed up
get
so
the
many
award.
times.
it's okay. A lot of people, like, whenever I've done my gigs the last couple of weeks, they're like, the new female best. It's a big, tongue twister of words. And so I'm just like, it's okay. It's all good. Just thank you for even mentioning it, because some people, they don't mention it at all whenever I do interviews or whenever I do like certain shows. So I appreciate that.
Well, I
Yeah,
appreciate you
you
being
got-
on here.
You're gonna have to start carrying a card with it. That's
I know it's gonna have to be a plaque, just
Yeah,
like a
like
card. Just
No,
this is
you're
what I
not.
want.
People,
This is
people
who
are
I
gonna
am.
learn. People are gonna learn your name, and they probably already do. I don't even know why I'm pretending that you're.
They already know
You
your
know,
name.
they don't already know your name.
Yeah.
And that was a big deal. Like we're gonna talk about it in a little bit. I love doing and messing up intros. I hate for having the guests to introduce themselves. So sit back, buckle up. Let's go. Too hard, too fast. Boom.
welcome back.
welcome back.
Welcome to Too Hard, Too Fast.
Too hard, too fast.
Too hard, too fast.
Too hard, too fast.
Welcome to Too Hard, Too Fast.
Hey everybody, this is Monica Saldivar. Welcome back to Too Hard, Too Fast with George and Robert.
Woo! Welcome back.
It's the podcast by the people for the people. All right.
Ah, Tejano, mi gente de San Antonio, de Texas.
La raza.
Hey, y de Grand Prairie.
Yep.
The podcast of the century.
Right. All right. The best new female artist of 2020, Tejano. Woo!
Yeah.
And it is a lot. But I remember when I first saw that. And it was here in San Antonio where I'm located. You were doing the Tejano Music Festival,
Yes. So
And-
for fanfare.
the fanfare, yes. And you were on stage actually, and you were performing, and that's when they presented your award. And I think it's because obviously the awards were canceled the year before, right?
That's right. Yeah, everything was virtual. So whenever I got my award, I got a text message. So it was a little bit bittersweet for me. Especially too, I had just lost, a lot of people had lost people within 2020 this year due to COVID or other, health issues. I had just lost one of my favorite cousins, Erica, and we were at her wake whenever I got the text message that I won my Tejano Music Award. And ironically enough, she and my other cousin, Veronica, with Veronica y Avance, they had won 10 years prior the same
Wow.
award that I did in 2020. So
Yeah.
very bittersweet moment. I mean, my family and I were just in tears. We were already in tears because we're at the wake, but I mean,
Yeah.
we just broke down even more so because in that moment, I felt like my cousin was with me. So definitely, it was definitely bittersweet, not just because it was virtual, but because a lot of people don't know the backstory of whenever I got my award. And so it's definitely bittersweet for sure.
Yeah, that is. I mean, I was just thinking, oh, it sucks for the artists that are like that, work so hard. Obviously, you guys work very hard to put out good music and music that people are gonna want to hear, music that wins awards, and then to the
Yeah.
fact that this award show was canceled, and just like everything else, everybody that worked hard for whatever they were doing, and things get canceled, and it's like, well, here you go, like you still won. And so I was thinking that, but I can't even imagine what you're feeling at the point of this, like seeing something, your work being recognized, and then you can't really express in a
Right.
way of like celebration because you're in this moment. It's
Another
just-
thing too that was very interesting about the whole situation, it's like you said, you know, people put in so much work and so much time. This album alone, it took 5 years. My debut album, it took 5 years to actually complete. And a lot of people don't know, I've been doing this since I was about 13 or 14 years old professionally. So, you know, performing as a track singer first, getting into fanfare. So fanfare kind of started around, I want to say maybe 16 or 17 years old. I had been trying out for many different projects, many different, you know, American Idol, The Voice. I tried out so many times, but you know, God has a purpose and a place for everything, I feel. And you know, so I had been doing this for about 11, going to be 12 years. Working
Wow.
at my craft and working at, you know, performance, and then recording in San Antonio. So San Antonio, we go to a lot. So whenever I did get my award, just like you said, all the hard work and all the expectations that we had, and, you know, winning this award, I was like, I wanted to do my thank you speech and I can't even do it.
I know. Oh, would you even like? Oh, how about we pretend right now? Like, I know you gave a little thank you, but let's do it right now. If you were there, what would you be? What would you say? If this was 2020, nothing got canceled, the world stayed normal-ish, and what would be your thank you speech?
Is the world
That's
normal
funny.
now?
I know, right? Well, I would say thank you to, you know, my team. Everybody knows me, not just for myself, but they know me that my family is everything to me. They go with me everywhere. My mom, my dad, my brother Joey, my tia Susie, Josie, my grandparents, you know, everybody that's put in some kind of effort and some kind of support. Thank you guys so much for being a part of, you know, this journey. Thank you to my bandmates, past and present, and, you know, whoever comes along the way. Thank you so much for putting in the time and the energy to be a part of this amazing crew, amazing band that we have established in the last 4 years. I want to thank the producers. I want to thank the songwriters. You know, this one is definitely going to go out to my cousin Erica because, like I said, she was with me in this moment for sure. And see, I'm kidding.
And then the band plays you off.
And then the band plays, yes.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I felt the emotion. I got goosebumps listening to that.
Oh,
I did
thank
too.
you.
I did too.
So,
I don't know. I'm a
good
little.
job. Good job on that one. I felt the emotion. Yeah, and I know you felt it too.
Yes, absolutely. I'm just like,
As crazy as getting it on stage and, you know, you're performing, what was that feeling like?
So that, a lot of people have asked me about that. My family too. They're just like, did you think it was going to be like that big? I was like, honestly, I didn't think it was going to be that heavy. Because I mean, I know it's glass. I get that it's glass.
You didn't drop it, did
Especially
you?
whenever you're performing, your hands get sweaty. Like you know, we've been outside the whole time. They give me the award kind of towards the end of my set. And I'm like, are you sure you want to give this to me? Like, this is so heavy. And I'm literally like carrying it with both hands, microphone right here. I'm like, wow. Like, so, I mean, fanfare is always a really big event. I mean, as you know, you're in San Antonio, you see it all the time in Market Square. Fiesta too. Fiesta is one of those big events. So seeing the people out there, all of the people that showed up to support, and then being able to actually show my award to the people that are, you know, putting in the effort to like cheer and have a really good time. I'm over here getting choked up.
That's okay.
No, putting in the
You're
effort
allowed
and
to. You're
having
allowed
a
to.
good time with us and just partying with us, having, you know, just an incredible experience. I mean, it gives me the energy to actually feel it, you know. I'll be honest with you, there's some performances where it's just like the people are just, they're just standing there. There's no like interaction whatsoever. And I think the crazy part, I think one thing that I feed off of the most, it doesn't matter how big or small the crowd is. If you're having a good time with me, I'm going to put an extra effort in to make your experience a lot more better. Because energy just transfers energy, you know? So
like
the
it.
whole experience behind getting the award at Fanfare this year, I mean, I exceeded my expectations for sure.
I like
Well,
it. So
and-
you're saying if we go too hard too fast, you go too hard.
Oh yeah, I'll be
Let's
doing
go.
cartwheels and everything. No, I'm kidding.
Well,
Go.
I think, and that's it. I think I saw Robert's drinking a little drink.
Uh-oh.
Apple juice.
I know,
No te
Monica,
creas,
you're not partaking today, and that's okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Don't apologize. No need for apologies. But I do want to do a little shot for 2020 Best New Female Artist of the Tejano Female Artist of the Year. So, Robert, cheers. Monica, cheers.
Cheers.
I'll cheers to you with air.
Let's go.
That's good enough. I appreciate that.
Speaking of going too hard too fast, though, let me ask you this, because I got to get off my chest, and I need to ask.
Uh-oh.
You know how people take their awards, kind of show it off a little bit. Did you take it anywhere? They do a tour around town, get some tacos?
I wish I would have. You know, I honestly, my family is like, let's go here because there's like a restaurant here that, you know, is local to us. But a lot of people go to the Dallas location a little bit more. It's called El Ranchito. You know, they made a location here in Arlington, and Dad's like, let's go show the owner because you know some of the times whenever I do my music videos, we'll incorporate different local businesses around the area. So like the Hi Ho that's over here, we used in our music video. El Ranchito we used in a lot of my videos. I think about 2 of them. I'm looking at my dad. I'm like, it was 2 of them, right? Yeah. And then, you know, we had so many different places that we used. And so Dad is like, we got to show it. We got to show it to, you know, the owner. We got to show it to Juan. I'm like, I don't know. Like, if we bring it, it's going to break. You know, like, my whole thing is not so much that I don't like showing off, but I think the worst case scenario is if I bring it out. Dad literally has, like, white gloves whenever he takes it out of the box. And we're super careful with it. Like, right now, it's on our mantle, on our fireplace. And I'm even like, I don't even want it to, like, move, like, by a hair because I'm so scared we're going to drop it.
I would be stressed the whole time too.
That would be too.
Yeah.
You saw Tom Brady with his championship, right? And he tossed
Yeah.
it. No, don't worry about it. You can do it. You'll get more awards. So
We'll see. I don't know.
Here's my challenge. But you drink alcohol? You drink okay, what's your favorite drink?
So I was just telling George, the only reason I don't have a drink with me today is because we were so busy with last night's performance and then tomorrow's performance. So it's just kind of like, I didn't have time to pick it up. I was going to bring the best made pickle beer. That's what I was going to bring.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even drink beer. This is like one of the things that I've been wanting to try. For,
He just took
he has it. Does he have it?
I don't know.
He has it.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's from Dallas too.
There you go.
I
Well, it's from
know.
Fort Worth, actually.
Let's
So it's,
go.
Fort Worth.
it's Martin House, right?
Martin House.
Yeah.
Yeah, Martin House.
They have some
all the way in
crazy beer.
Cincinnati.
They have some crazy beer. So what do you think about it? You have to
I
do
like
your
it.
thing for me.
I like it. It's great. You're basically drinking out of a pickle jar, but it gives
Right.
you a little buzz. So let's go.
Now let me ask you this: have you tried the Michelada one
There's no
or
Michelada
the
one?
Bloody Mary one? There's a Bloody Mary one.
There is a
No,
Bloody Mary
no.
one, yeah.
But I'll give you my address. So I can get some.
There you go. We'll see. I don't know.
I never
It
had
doesn't
I have to
take
get
me all
it.
the
I have
time.
to get a too hard, too fast T-shirt.
Let's go.
Oh well, I'll tell you this. I'll make sure to get you one, but you'll be
Yes.
the only one that gets it.
There you
other
go.
than me.
First one, let's
Yes,
go.
there we go.
Because this one was somebody that listens to the podcast made it. So they sent it to me. I was like, this looks amazing.
Aw.
So I'll make sure I'll get you one, and then I'll also send you koozies.
There you
Woo!
go.
Yes, we love koozies here.
So badass.
My challenge: get some pickle beer,
Yes.
put it in the Tejano Music Award, and do award chug. Let's go.
We'll see. I don't know about all that, but we'll see.
I think Robert's already a little too hard, too fast.
No.
Yeah, there you go. Hey.
I get a little excited because I know
What
how
is it, 2
I know how it is.
Well, I should say, I think I mentioned it before we started recording that Robert is a huge Tejano fan. And, we grew up with Tejano music and country music. And I think both of us are very different in our choices of music because I feel like I usually do country more than I do anything else. And then he
Right.
does Tejano and what's that other stuff you listen to, Robert?
Norteños.
Hi, there we go.
Maybe a little corridos. Let's go.
See,
Starting
I
a
don't-
war already with Norteño and Tejano. the two things he listens to, and you're like, what's that other stuff?
You listen to a little bit of everything. I like a little bit of country music as well, and Tejano. When I was back in San Antonio, listened to the KXCN
Oh
and
yeah.
all that. And then I've seen the Johnny Canales show
There you go.
a few times.
You
Yeah.
got it. Take it away, right? Yeah. No, that's really cool, and especially because my whole thing is, yes, my foundation in music is Tejano. I do perform. My music that we record is Tejano based. But if you go to any one of my shows, it's not just going to be your typical Tejano show. We're going to incorporate, on the English side, we incorporate rock, pop, R&B, soul. We do country a little bit, just a little bit. And then with the Spanish side, it's not just Tejano. We do Tejano, merengue, salsa, mariachi. We try to incorporate a whole show so that it's not just for one specific audience. We want to incorporate the whole audience experience.
Well,
I like it.
in that that album, the 2019 album, which is called Monica Saldivar,
Which is called
so
Monica.
people should go get it. There's a song in there, and I can't think of the name. Me cuesta olvidarte.
Yeah.
So,
Si tú supieras que estoy harta de sufrir, me cuesta tanto olvidarte.
that one is actually a cover from Enrique Iglesias, right?
Right. Yeah.
Oh.
And you're the first person to catch that, actually.
There
So
you go.
yeah, we have a lot of people come up to me and they're just like, man, like, what were you thinking when you wrote that song? And I'm like, well, I can't take credit for it really because Claudia Brandt actually wrote the song with Enrique Iglesias. And they were like, what? I was like, yeah, it's a cover song. They're like, no way. I'm like, yeah, it is. My producer, one of my producers on the album, who is also my music director, Victor Garcia, he came up with the idea of making it into a Tejano song. Now, my dad actually was the one that was like, because we would listen to all different types of music, and when we started the process of Me Cuesta, he was like, man, like that would be such a good song to turn Tejano. Well, my music director took it, ran with it, came up with the music, and we just took it from there.
Yeah, because I was listening to it and I was like, man, this song hits. And then that one phrase that says, what is it? Cinco palabras or cinco letras.
Son
I
cinco
was like,
letras.
oh,
Yeah.
and I was like, that sounds very familiar.
No puedo más. Son 5 letras que no se borran.
Yep.
Like 100%. And then I
You
just
have to be
obviously
like a real Enrique fan to actually know that we asked permission. We obviously wrote, Claudia Brandt was just like, hey, we're doing this. Can we possibly, can we have permission to do the cover? And they said yes. And she actually retweeted, whenever we released it, she retweeted the song. So I was like, that's the biggest compliment right there. Like,
That's love.
Songwriter. That's all love right there.
Yeah.
Retweet,
Well, here's
little-
the thing. and I'm gonna say this, and it might be a little controversial, but um, I am a big Enrique Iglesias fan, and I think obviously when I was growing up, it wasn't cool to be a fan of Enrique Iglesias or
Right.
for some whatever reason. And but the thing is with Enrique Iglesias, he was getting so big at the time where like we, at least for me as a brown person, as a Hispanic
Right.
person, you don't see when he's coming at the point where you're seeing that transition of Spanish singers breaking into mainstream media.
There you
And not
go.
just him, but you got Jennifer Lopez, you got Ricky Martin,
Right.
and I'm probably forgetting a whole bunch of other people that were just like about breaking that, And then I remember hearing that first time, like, oh, this guy's singing in English, or she's singing in English, or she's putting two different languages together. So that's why I was a fan, and I've heard the song before, and obviously, Enrique Iglesias is big.
Awesome.
But here's the controversial part. Yes, that's a great song. It's an awesome song. But when I heard it from you, it is so much better.
Oh, thank you.
So much better.
Thank you so much.
No, and I don't know if that's like unfair to say or that different. You can't compare. But for me, that song in a Tejano version just hits so much better.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's a really big compliment for me. Just it makes me feel so good that people take to my music. I think last night we were having a conversation with one of my friends who's also in the San Antonio area, Emmanuel J. He's another vocalist out there that's doing great things. I was having a conversation with him before we went on stage, and he was just like, I don't know what it is about your voice, but you, for whatever reason, you emote, or you use your voice to express feelings. And I don't know if that's just something that you learned how to do or something that you were born with, but you make people feel a certain way. And I'm just like, I don't know how I do it. Like, I'm just here and I'm just singing. But when I started music, it was to make people feel something more than what you would typically at a concert, right? Because we go to concerts and we know the music, we know the artist. Sometimes we go see the artist, we listen to the music, we have fun, we dance, we drink, we have a good time, right? Or like if it's a sad song, we're over here crying because we're drinking too much. But I wanted my experiences with people to be more fluid and more meaningful. And so when I started creating music, I thought about the songwriters that I wanted to use. I thought about the producers I wanted to use because, when you're first starting off, you only get one shot, one opportunity to seize everything. I'm kidding.
Mom spaghetti.
I was about to go for it.
There you go. But you only get one shot, especially as a woman in this industry, or especially as a young female in this industry. When I first started off, I was about 17 or 18, getting into the studio with producers like Mario Ortiz and, Eddie Perez and the songwriters that we were able to work with. They're Grammy award winning songwriters, Grammy award winning producers. And I'm just taking it in and just like, you know what? This is the reason why I'm here. It's not just to create something that people can dance to or drink to or have a really good time. It's to give something more that's meaningful.
And it's interesting that you mentioned your age, and only the age that you started, because I was kind of wondering when it all started for you, and I'm gonna ask you like when you found out that you have this talent. But before that, I do want to mention this weird thing. So when I was researching, I went through your Instagram, which is something I typically do when I have a guest on and they have an Instagram. I want to see the transition. I find like there's a transition when it goes from what was that?
So you creeped on her a little bit.
No,
Oh, okay.
creep. Not that much.
That's
There's not that much on there.
That's
cool.
the weird thing. Yes, that is a little because I was scrolling. I was going as far to try to see that transition because Instagram changes the way you use it, changes the way for what you're using it for.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
wanted to see that moment, and I did find one where you posted a sophomore picture of yourself And so I kind of did some math, and I was like, okay. She was probably around 17 or 18 or maybe 19 when she took that
Yeah.
picture. She's probably 27-ish right now.
Oh, you're good.
Super, yeah, there you go, super creeper. I'm telling you.
I'm
And
telling
then
you.
I scroll all the way to the bottom to see
Oh,
your
no.
first picture that says, "All right, here goes nothing," or something like that, or here, like, see how
And
this
my
goes.
face is just literally
Yeah,
just
it was really just. Oh, and I'm gonna post it on here. I'm just kidding.
okay.
But
All
then
for it.
I like do a little bit up, and then I see a like you posted your mom's toes, and I
Yeah.
wonder if at this point she's still comfortable with that.
Yeah. No, because like whenever I feel like with Instagram kind of like started growing whenever I was going into college. It was 2012, when everything started to grow with Instagram. We already had Facebook for a little bit. And so I'm one of those people that I'm very, very late to technology or to social media. With Twitter too. I cannot stand Twitter. I will just post and I don't even care if somebody comments or shares. I'm just more like, I did it. And so like with Facebook, you would just put your thoughts or whatever. You wouldn't necessarily post pictures until that was available. And so whenever Instagram came out, it was like all the rage at my college. I went to Dallas Baptist University, and it's a 5% at the time. It was like a 5% Latin population or Hispanic population. It was mostly, white people, on the more, I wouldn't say upper class. I mean, I would say upper class because they were able to afford it. I came in with a scholarship.
Nice.
And work
Congrats.
study too. I had to work my butt off just to make sure I got through college. But yeah, so it was all the rage whenever I first started my freshman year. And I think if you scroll up a little bit too, you'll see like ducks out of nowhere. Like you'll see like
I'm not on your Instagram. I'm
no, like if you like scroll up a little bit, you'll see like ducks, and then like you'll see a pond. Like I was just randomly taking pictures of everything because I was like, is this what this app is all about? Like, and so you'll see like the pictures of my mom's toes because I'm just like the artwork on the I don't know. It was just like
cool.
I was like so amazed. I was like, oh, and then just
if you look at the Too Hard Too Fast Instagram and you scroll all the way, you'll see random pictures as well, and like that has nothing to do with anybody starting a podcast or anything like that.
right.
So it's just like so random.
Yeah, and I'm like
I
that
understand
with
what you're
TikTok right
saying.
now too. Like TikTok is like something that's just blowing up. Like all of a sudden we have like ambassadors or influencers for TikTok for Tejano. And I'm just like, what?
What
So
do they
it's just
do?
one of those things. It's crazy.
What do they do? Like they just promote Tejano music?
They promote, as of right now, what I'm noticing a lot of the times is they'll promote a little bit of like the newer artists. So like me, Demi Garcia, Sonia de la Paz, Emmanuel J. Those are who I consider to be like new in the industry. But then they'll go back to, Ram. They'll go back to Emilio, Selena, Shelly Lares, Stephanie Montiel. They'll promote even Ramon Ayala, I think, at some points. And so it's just like, oh, okay,
This guy's the guy.
yeah. That's,
yeah. I mean,
Is he controversial right now? Like, should we not talk about him? Is that a thing? Did something happen with him?
I don't think so. I think he's doing pretty okay.
Okay.
No, he's fine. I mean, he got into some deals a couple years ago, but he's
But
doing his
that's
job.
everyone.
Yeah, he's just doing his job somewhere. Like it's just they pay him and they do his thing,
Yeah.
And so he's doing his thing, but he's a different cat. So you got Tejano and you got Norteño and you got corridos.
I think that's what it's mostly.
Yeah, because you don't know where to plug him in.
It's people splitting the sound. Like we have Signal too, but they don't necessarily consider him Tejano, but they also don't consider him Norteño. Yeah. And they consider themselves Rakteño because they created their own genre. So it's like, that's what I was saying earlier with the battle of the different genres, like how we were talking about you like the two different ones. People will get mad at you because you support one, but you don't support the other, or you support both, but it's a weird thing with our fans. They'll either be like, well, that's not Tejano because there's no accordion, or that's not Norteño because there's not keyboard. Like there's something for everybody to choose, but I feel like people are choosing what they consider to be Tejano and what they consider to be norteño. And it's okay. You know, at the end of the day, if you do not feel like my music is for you, it's all good. There's no hate, you know. But with everybody else, with all the other artists, they're just like, but I'm this and I'm this. I'm like, I don't even label. I don't even
you listen. Because, like I said, like I love country music. I love Tejano music. But I won't listen. I'm not like, I wouldn't be considered a diehard Tejano fan.
Yeah,
Like,
and that's
but
fair.
there's music that just like it like moves you. Yours, obviously. If I wasn't a fan of your music, I wouldn't have even like put myself out there to say like, would you even consider coming on?
Right,
So,
right. See, and the
obviously,
crazy
like
thing is he lives in San Antonio. So that's
Yeah, he does.
like the hub of Tejano.
Yeah.
well,
you
see,
got the
and we're not even from
explosion.
San. We're actually from a border town, and so it was so weird growing up with everybody, all my friends, my brother. Everybody listens to Tejano music, to corridos, to Spanish pop, whatever. Like it had to be Spanish music. So if you're the one guy rolling up to school and jamming out to country music, George Strait and all that, um, everybody's like, "¿Qué chingados te crees? Who you think you
Right,
are?" You know,
right,
like,
right.
so like always like I always got messed for being a country fan, and I was like, dude, it's the same thing. I don't know, maybe you would consider it different, but to me it was always like your Tejano, what you listen in Tejano is almost the same thing as country music. Yes, different instruments are being used,
Yeah, but you
but the
dance the
stories.
same.
Exactly.
What would get me upset was the fact that they would say all they do is talk about sad stuff, and they're always crying and whining. It was like, what do you think Bobby Pulido's doing or Michael Salgado?
Right.
You know, it's all about the love that they lost or the love that they found, or just, from the one time I met Michael Salgado, he told me his the Palomita Blanca, the Piguito de Oro,
Yeah.
that one, it's about his dog.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if he's ever
Of
shared that
course.
before, and I don't want to blow
Some
it
of the
up. I'm sorry,
catchiest,
I don't know if I should say that.
some of the catchiest songs are about dogs, are about land, are about like their truck. You know, like and people will associate it to them because they're like, ooh, the words and ooh, the beat. Sometimes you're a lyric person and sometimes you're just a music person.
Yeah.
So if you're just the music person, you're just like, I don't care what it is. I don't care what it's talking about, because there's other songs out there right now that I'm just kind of like, why is that like the number one song right now? And it's literally talking about a room, a room, a room, a room. I'm like, what the heck is this?
That's a TikTok song. That's why.
Yeah.
That's why I first heard it.
Yeah.
And I go, dang, but then it starts going. That's like
It's because of the beat. It's because of the music that goes into it. It's not. You're not listening to. Oh, that's beautiful lyrics right there. A room, a room. Like, okay.
That's what.
So,
That's funny you say that because right now I was scrolling TikTok. Yeah, I have TikTok. The cat's out of the bag.
hey, okay.
But I was going on there, and then right now you hear that dun dun dilin, dun dun dilin. And I was like, what's the song about? But then they put it on random people just moving around a little bit. It's like, it's just the beat. Is it the words don't mean much to me or anything, but the beat is da 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 da.
Right. And then there's another one out there too, or it was maybe like a couple of months back, but it was like la madre, la madre, la madre, or something. Yeah. It was something very, it didn't make no sense at all, but people love it because it's just like, you can dance to it. So
I'm over here, never once heard any of these songs.
well, good.
It's because you got the algorithms, not feeding into it.
It all matters about the algorithm.
I
And
do
so
get
your algorithm
mad
might be a little bit more on the countryside.
I don't know what my algorithm is. It's all over the place, but I do get upset when not upset or I get bothered when my brother sends me these TikToks that are like completely something I would not like buy into. I'm
Yeah.
like, this motherfucker just ruined my algorithm, and I'm gonna get this stuff.
Because you watched it, so now that you watched it, it's part of your algorithm too.
So like I'm gonna go find like stuff I like. I was like, nope, like on this.
Right.
But since you guys are talking about lyrics and the beats and that with songs, going back to No Me Cuesta or Me Cuesta Olvidarte, I'm surprised that I even caught that thing that the fact that it was a cover from Enrique, but because I am the worst with listening to lyrics, like I'll have to listen to a song over and over and over and over to like fully understand it.
Same here.
Because I'll get lost either in the song, the beat, or and all that, and then I'll start thinking of other stuff, or I'll catch one phrase and it'll hit oh, like jog a memory or something. I'll start thinking about
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
So then by the time I know it, the song's over and we're on to the next one. So I want to talk about Soy Más Fuerte.
Y solo Dios me dio el valor y soy más fuerte.
Yes.
Because I played the song over and over and over and over and over and over, and it didn't hit me till like very later on. It's like, oh my, like this is talking about domestic violence,
Right.
Yeah. And it didn't like I don't, and it's funny that I said they hit me. I'm sorry.
No.
Hey,
No, you're
No
okay.
pun intended. No pun
No,
intended.
it's all.
went too
But,
hard too fast.
good.
You went too hard too fast.
Too
There you
hard, too
go.
fast.
Maybe.
You're on the right podcast.
You're on the right one. We're going off the rails.
Yeah.
Um,
No.
But
No,
yeah, that it hit me much later on that I was like, oh my, and I said it again. That's the thing, like what you're singing about. But it's such like your voice in that song. It's so freaking good. Like it just like
Thank you.
wow. Like yes, in the 2019 album, like it showed like you showcase your voice, but in this EP that you have out now, that one is just like your voice in each of the tracks. I think you have about 5 or 8 in them,
I do. I have 5 right now.
and it's like your voice is really showcases even more. And then in that song, it's like
Thank
oh
you
my
so much.
god. um, like, did you feel like there was going to be any controversy going into that song? Like because it's an important subject. It's
Right.
but it's also very a sensitive subject. And I know you're bringing awareness to the situation of domestic violence and the fact that it unfortunately does get swept under the rug
Yeah.
a lot of times. But did you feel any like nervousness about putting that out?
So whenever I was actually in the recording studio, because I got the song from the songwriter Jesse Villarreal, who's in Florida right now. He's, based out of Florida. And we've worked on songs in the past before. He actually wrote Juntos Tú y Yo, which is on the debut album as well. And he reached out to me and he was like, I want to work on a song with you, but you need to know already, like, this song isn't your typical Tejano song. It's not going to be Tejano. It's going to be a balada. And it's going to have a lot of sentiment because it's about my mom. And I was like, okay, what is it? Let me know what it is. Let me read the lyrics. Let me hear what you have to say. So listening to the demo, listening to the words, actually going over the words with my family, because truth be told, I'm the same way. I'll have to listen to something over and over and over again to actually get the concept of what it's talking about. And another thing too is that my Spanish is a little broken. It's not completely perfect. I didn't grow up I didn't grow up singing it, and I didn't grow up reading it, writing it, everything like that. So I learned that as I got older. So listening to the song from his words and his voice, I was like, I want to do this. I want to do this. I know that it's not my typical. I know that I'm a new artist coming in, but what better way to talk about a subject with somebody new, with somebody that, is trying to do something more important than herself, kind of thing. So we got into the recording studio, and it took a couple of tries. It wasn't something that I was just like, hit it out of the ballpark right away and then we're done. Like, it took a lot of emotion, because as a person myself, I have not fully gone through somebody, in a relationship being domestic abuse, you know, and that could look like anything. It could look like physical abuse. It could look like mental abuse. Some of these women and some of these men have gone through, because it goes both ways. And depending on, you know, it doesn't matter your age, your gender, your sexual status, like it happens to everyone. And, you know, getting into the studio and trying to channel that, you have to channel those emotions for people, because ultimately this song is not for me. It's for the people that have gone through it or has lost somebody from it. So whenever we released the song, I wanted to name my album, my EP, Soy Mas Fuerte, because, you know, it meant the world to me to be asked to be a part of this, you know, almost like a campaign, if you will. And when I released it, a lot of the radio stations, at first they were like, we can't play this. You know, we can't play this. It's too slow. The people aren't going to grasp it. You know, it's never going to make the countdown. Like, because we have this big thing about countdowns in San Antonio and over here as well. And I was like, that's fine. That's okay. But just give it a chance. The worst thing that somebody can tell you is no, right? And my family and I, my dad, for example, he's my dadager. We all know that. He will push and push and push. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many times you say no. You have to give him one yes. And that's why my family and I were so strong, because we don't take no until we know that, okay, you know what? We did everything we could. We tried to do it the respectful way. And if it didn't work out, it didn't work out. But lately, a lot of the radio stations have said, thank you for, you know, pushing as hard as you did to get the song on the radio, because we've had people calling in, you know, talking about their stories, their testimonials. There was a lady that, you know, was in the music industry for Tejano. Her name was Ernestine Romero, and she passed away from a domestic abuse situation. So ultimately, with all the testimonies, with all the stories that came out of this, it's a really hard topic to talk about, especially in our specific genre and our specific culture of people, but it's necessary.
Yeah,
I like it. I love all that.
Right. Well, Rob, I don't know if you should what do you mean you love all that?
Well, I love that. I love that.
Do tell.
I love that, because you're right. You're in our
please,
culture,
please explain.
And you like in that culture. I love that. That you do have to bring it out, because it does happen, and people do squash it, and people squash it within themselves, and people squash it within the family. But so it definitely will hit different, like you said. Trying to get it out there, get that message out there, kind of speak about it. And nowadays, it's a little bit more easier than it was obviously years ago. But also the love to hear about your dad, like pushing and pushing. I said earlier, like terquea, you know, like
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's what dads are for, and that's what your man is for, and that's great, because it's like you said earlier, Jorge said earlier, and like you said it, you have to repeat it and hear it a few times, the music. And I think that's what the radio stations did for you. They'd listen to it a few times and they figured out, oh, you're right.
Absolutely.
They were absolutely right about this one, and that's why they play it. So that whole story, that's what I love. I think that message was a good one to share.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad we got to share that on here, because, like I said at the beginning, like I like to open up these conversations to different perspectives. And so obviously, you know, this being a very sensitive perspective, but it's something that needs to be said, needs to be brought out to the, you know, whoever's going to listen to it in a way, I guess the audience, you know, like when they go in to hear Monica Saldivar and they listen to the song and not expecting it like I did, but it opens up something in a way of like, hopefully helping somebody. Like this podcast is also like anybody I bring on here, I want to share something that will eventually help somebody. Maybe not everybody, but somebody.
Right.
So
I feel like that's what opens a lot of doors for the people currently. Because I mean, let's put it this way: whenever we were in COVID season, right? We were all.
You call it COVID season 2.
I call it COVID season because that's what it was. It was a season of freaking just quarantine. Like when you think quarantine or the word quarantine, I think of the horror movie, the scary movie. I didn't think of it as like something like, yay, I can stay home and eat all day. Like I was so upset because I teach voice lessons and beginner piano. So if you can imagine, this is what I'm looking at, like on Zoom, and they're just like doo doo doo. So it's just, I was just so annoyed with it because I wanted to get out. I wanted to see people. I wanted to talk to people other than the people that I love, which is my mom, dad, and my brother. But you know, it's something that you're just kind of like, is there anything else out there for me that I can watch or listen to or sing? Because I watched like Grey's Anatomy, I don't know how many times, you know, like, and that has like about 10 seasons, you know. But podcasts like this are important for people, especially people that can't necessarily go out and really get out of their house currently, whether or not that's like due to sickness or because of COVID, or they're afraid of everything, or, you know, it gives people the opportunity to hear other stories and other perspectives, just like you were saying. So in a way, this podcast does help a lot because it's not just telling my story. It's really a conversation. It's really like, they're going to feel like they're part of the conversation. So thank you so much for doing your podcast.
Oh, well, thank you. That makes
and it's for the world. It's not for just anybody that's watching.
Para el mundo.
Para la gente. Depending on what side of the country you're on. Para la raza. Y para no, pues si no eres raza, pues también.
Right.
For you, for whoever's listening. I hope it helps. But let's turn things around a little bit. Let's bring it back to the fact that I meant to ask you when you realized you had this kind of talent. Hey, 2H2Fers, we're going to take a pause here with Monica Saldivar, the
2020 Tejano Music Awards winner for Best New Female Artist.
Woo, baby. And we're coming back on Thursday. We're going too hard, too fast. We're going to find out, is Tejano alive? Is Tejano dying? We're going to talk about Tejano. Who knows? We're actually going to find out some secrets that I didn't know about Tejano. And then we're going to hear her too hard, too fast story. We're having a great time. This was awesome. I really appreciate it. Remember, get her music. You can listen to her on any streaming platform. See you guys. Actually, Robert, what do you have to say?
Tejano lives, that's it.
We'll find out Thursday, though. And with that said, see you guys later. Dare to be you, dare to be weird. Bye.
Está loco.